Well, I thought I would kind of get into your whole story and everything. You
Right.
know, for the people who might not be familiar
Yeah,
with it,
yeah.
I don't think you've actually did your whole story and talked about a lot of stuff, man. So, I think everybody probably knows you're from Miami or
Yeah,
around Miami.
I was born in Texas for real. I was born in El Paso. My mom and dad was from New York City. My dad was from the Bronx. My mom was from Queens. They met in New York Community College or some shit up there. They went into the army. They were stationed at Beaumont, something. I forgot they Bliss or something. I don't know. But they ended up and having me. Okay, and then I was 3 years old, and my dad was abusive, and my mother. They both moved back to New York. She took me back to New York, and my dad, they got a divorce. So I was seeing my dad on the weekends. I'll be in the Bronx, South Bronx, in Forest Projects, and then I'll be in Queens during the week going to school at PS 156. And I went to Linden SDA for elementary in New York. And I hit 10 years old. My mom moved down to Miami because New York was bad. It was the crack era. It was hectic. You know what I'm saying? My aunt was strung out. It was just a lot going on. And she brought me down here. And, by the time I was 13, I was, already in trouble and shit like that. I already got arrested and basically jumping off the porch, you know what I'm saying? And I met Ross when I was 15. He was, 18, 19, and we just had the same vision, you know what I'm saying? Want to do this rap shit, and get out these streets, you know what I'm saying? And street shit come with everything, man. So, we survived that long enough and put in enough work to where 2005, the record Hustling hit, and I've been on tour ever since. My father Jamaican, my father Puerto Rican, my mom Jamaican, so I'm a Puerto Rican, new strand, you know what I'm saying? Angry strand.
So let's go back a little bit real quick, man. So you moved to Miami, and you said you got into a lot of trouble. I believe you've kind of talked about selling drugs at an early age before.
Yeah.
How did all that come together?
So it was funny. I had a job. I went and got a job. I think I was like 16 or something like that, because my old girl was tripping, and the court was like, "Yo, you got to get a job," and all that, because I kept getting arrested and shit.
What were you getting arrested for?
Stupid shit, weed, loitering, trespassing, you know what I'm saying? And just like juvenile shit, B&E, you know what I'm saying? Juvenile bullshit. And so I said, let me go get a job. So I got a job at Chuck E. Cheese. And I'll never forget, I was getting paid $2.75 an hour, because that was minimum wage back then. And I had got my first check, and it was like, I think it was like $150 after 2 weeks of working in the kitchen. And I took that $150, and at that time, 8 balls was $110. And I bought me an 8-ball, and I broke it down into 20s because I didn't know about just putting 0.4 or 0.3, 0.4, 0.3. I was putting 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. So I had the chunky chunks, you know what I'm saying? Raw. And I went to the store, because I usually sell my little weed at the store and shit. And I kept the coke at the crib at my mama's house. And white boy, white dude, white guy, he was like older guy. He was like, "Hey man, you holding?" I was like, this sound like a cop. Nigga say you're holding. I don't even nobody talking about you holding. I was like, nah, what you talking about? Well, like, what's up? What's your name? He was like, you got any, I was like, damn, bro, this might be my first. So I went, I got it for him. That man bought my whole 8-ball that day. From that one time I served him to that night, he just kept coming back. Let me get another one. Let me get another one. And mind you, I was just selling nickel bags of weed, quarter pound, half pound. I'm thinking I'm doing something. You know what I'm saying? A little pound, a little nickel bag, 7s. I'm like, wait a minute. This whole day, if I had 10 of these motherfuckers buying an 8-ball a day, and I'm flipping that shit, and I ain't cutting nothing, because it's going so fast, I don't need to cut it. Just get it off. To the point where it's like, okay. And then everything changed from there. Then I just pumped up, and you know what I'm saying? You know, pumped up to 1 ounce and started grabbing 2 ounces. Then the nigga just said, man, here, man, just take this 4.5. And then it was just like, okay, I got ounces. And then, you know how that shit go. And, but my mama's house was the trap, though. She would work 16 hours, 20 hours, a nurse. And I'd just be there hanging out, 15 niggas at the crib. We all just smoking outside, you know what I'm saying? Backyard, niggas playing video games in my room. You know, I'm just trapping that shit out. And then nightfall, y'all gotta go. And that's it. And to the point when I start selling coke now, then they motherfuckers start tapping on my window. Tick, 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 tick. I'm like, oh Lord, I got my old girl right there on the couch. So when I come out my room, I have to see her. She's like, the couch is right there, the TV's right here. I have to see her. So I keep going outside, and she ain't really saying nothing, but then, cause she know I got a lot of friends and shit. But then it just start getting out of pocket, dog. You know what I'm saying? And then I just, you know, I had to move, get out, and you know how the story goes. But the cliche.
Were you going to high school?
Huh? Yeah, I was still in high school. Yeah, I only went to school to sell weed and coke. I went morning time, and then I'll leave, and then I'll come back for lunch, and then I'll leave, and then I'll come back when everybody letting out. And then that was my routine. So I ain't never really go to school. They sent me to adult community school, like the trade schools. The Hallandale adult, it was like it's like for dropout niggas and shit like that. You can smoke cigarettes in the hallways. It got grown ass motherfuckers going to trades classes and shit. You can go to class if you want, or if you don't. That was like your last ditch effort to try to like save a nigga, but I was, whatever, dog. I tried it too. I ain't did none of that shit neither, dog. School wasn't for me, man. By the time I was really invested in music, so I'm hustling and I'm rapping, and that's my life, and I signed up like wholehearted. That's all I was doing. And,
so who starts rapping first, you or Rick Ross?
He was already doing his thing. He was already writing little. He wasn't in He didn't go in the studio yet. I remember his first studio session. We were just like writing and shit. Like I was always writing at the crib. You know what I mean? Like, so he'll be writing and shit like that, but we never really recorded nothing. And dude named Earl Hanna, the one that was basically funding everything. He got a session, and everybody was in there, and he did a little mixtape, and we did it. I was on a couple songs, and it was a thing, man. It was a movement. When we started a nice little movement just in our little hood, just in our little city, you know what I'm saying? Carroll City, like really like our neighborhood. And then it just started, bubbling up, and, start doing shows for free, you know what I'm saying? And we started doing shows in Fort Myers and shit, flipped the truck one time I think we got paid like $250 that show. and flipped the truck coming back from a dog, God bless the dead, Peanut, was too drunk. He told us, man, I'm too drunk. Drive, shut up, we tired. We was performing, you ain't did shit. Flips the truck. It's just wild, man. You know, just then I started doing more drugs than selling. You know what I'm saying? Well, not doing more than selling because I would always had it, but I started doing it a lot. I started doing a lot of coke. You know what I'm saying? And everybody around me started, you know, was doing it, and it was just a way of life. And then to the point where, you know, I didn't think I had a problem, and to where I realized I had a problem, and I quit for like 8 years, and then I got back on it because around I had to do like 30 records in like 3 days in Cali. One of the mixtapes was with Mozzie. The Mozzie mixtape that I did, I forgot what it's called. Headshots and dreadlocks or something like that. And I did another solo mixtape with this company. They paid us and shit like that. And I was like, man, the only way I could get through it by getting me a nice 8-ball or some good old, you know what I'm saying? So I did it then, finished the records, and then that demon jumped back in me, man, and I was off ever since. But then I quit again when DMX died. Yeah, like a little bit before that, I relapsed when DMX died, but I woke up and heard he died, and I was like, all right, I'm done with this shit, bro. You good. You know what I'm saying? So
DMX inspired you to quit.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, nowadays, it's not even really the coke, it's the fentanyl that they're putting in it.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, what I'm so confused, it's like this. You cannot, either that is sabotage, either it's some sabotage, I don't want to say government or Chinese, or I don't want to say anything, but I don't know what. Who the cuts coke with a downer, bruh? Why? That's like cutting coke with morphine. Why? It does not equal out, bruh. It makes no sense to me. Why would you cut coke with fentanyl? Fentanyl? That's intentional. Or people are doing fentanyl now more. And that really is the problem. And the real culprit. It's not that people is being laced, or some pills are, yeah. Some pills are, yeah, because why? It's downers. If it's an oxy, you couldn't tell the difference if it's a, you know what I'm saying? I mean, not saying you can tell it, but it's the same neighborhood. They're both downers. You're not finna put a downer in an upper, bruh. Unless you speedballing. You know what I'm saying? Unless you speedballing or you actually doing fentanyl. Like where they're cutting it enough where you're good, but then you might catch a bad batch. And then they can get f***ed up. But as far as in the coke, I might be, hey man, I've been out the game a long time, so I might not know. But please, pull my fucking coattail. Pull my coat and tell me something.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon, so hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.